So we are at the Palomares Adobe House. It's the first time we come to a historic society meeting. We're trying to get in. We're a little bit late, like always. You guys know how it is. We've never been to one of these, so I'm kind of excited to see what it's all about. This is all the side wall right here. This is Arrow. So let's check it out. One of the authors is actually going to be here, a Pomonian by the name of David Allen. Bought his book. He wrote Pomona A through Z, and it gives you like all the rundown on everything. So I am hoping to get a picture and a signature in my book. And this is it, the side, Palomares Park. So let's get it going, people. Vámonos, Racio. We are in. We just got our programs. Not too many people are here, as you can see. But I am, so that's all that matters. So let's check it out. She said we can walk around and see what's in bloom. Puro pinche nopal y agave, which is okay, because it's just the excitement of being here. So let's keep going. Yeah. So cool, like the way these trees, the roots are twisted. Cool. Amazing. Is this the way in? Maybe? Well, it said it was open. So cool. We're in the house. Wow. So this is a master bedroom here. Like, wow, right? Get this piano. So this is a keepsake piece of art made out of real human hair, and it would usually belong to your loved ones who had recently passed on.
He has trouble explaining his obsession with the giant slide, which may have begun as early as 1965, the year the attraction opened. Familiarity is one reason, exercise for the repetitive climbing is another. Another reason, it's just plain fun. It's like a breath of fresh air, he said. It may be fall, but it's like a breath of spring. Ken Davidson, his father, said his son gets a taste of freedom on the slide, the way a sighted person does behind the wheel of a car. By himself, Doug Davidson climbs the 95 steps to the top of the 50-foot slide. A slide employee lays out his mat. Davidson steps on, sits, pushes himself off, and rides silently down the 4 humps to the bottom. An employee or his father leads him to the steps so he can go again. That was 29, he'll say, to keep the numbers straight. 30 is next. Blind since birth, Davidson lived with his parents, Ken and Margaret, in Los Angeles. His life has been as normal as possible. He went to the movies with his 2 brothers. He was a kicker on his high school football team, which got him a letterman's jacket. A college graduate with a degree in communications, he plays the piano, reads Braille, takes computer classes, swims, and competes in an annual marathon. He doesn't look at blindness as a handicap, his father said. He looks at his diabetes as a handicap because he likes to eat. His parents plan to cut him off at 66 trips to eat because of low blood sugar. Giant Slide manager Nancy Maxwell, who's worked the slide for 23 years, lets Davidson on the $1.80 a trip attraction for free. He's a tradition of the slide, Maxwell said proudly. Her daughters grew up helping him. Other disabled people ride the slide, including people with Down syndrome and multiple sclerosis, but nobody who's gung-ho like Doug, Maxwell said. Slide employee Michael Murakami was among those who helped Davidson lay out his map Friday on opening day. "It's unbelievable," Murakami said, 61 times up the stairs. "Other people ride at most 4 or 5 times," he said. "They're huffing and puffing. This guy does it like it's nothing." Jennifer Reed of Riverside, whose children were contemplating a second slide down, was delighted to hear about Davidson's feat. "Oh my gosh, how fun," Reed said, watching Davidson on another trip down. She had a guess as to what a blind person would get out of the effort. "It's a thrill," Reed said. "Most people close their eyes when they go down it anyway." Thank you. Always read that one. I mean, a town of 9,000 people, and we had the county fair in Richland County. And at this point, like, I barely remember what it consisted of. I mean, there were probably, church carnivals that are about that size out here. Certainly no, LA County Fair, but I just had fond memories of that fair. And when I got to the Daily Bulletin, it was like, wow, the LA County Fair, that sounds cool. And people in the paper, I guess, are kind of jaded about it. Like they weren't really, we covered it. It was kind of just something that we did. And a lot of the reporters weren't really that into it. I don't think the editors were that into it necessarily. They kind of did the same stories every year. Is the fair safe? What's it like after hours of the fair? Things like that. I thought, I thought, this is like a great place to pick up goofy little feature stories.
Thank you, David. You're so good at bringing history to life and bringing it to others that maybe don't know that about what's in town. And I always pass that on as that was the world's largest county fair, the LA County Fair. World's largest county fair.
Actually, I'll read you a short one from 2000. This is like around 9. Cal Poly Pomona. The University Library Special Collections and Archives is the lucky recipient. The items deserved a permanent, secure home where they can be accessible to the public, say Fairfax officials, who after all are in the business of putting on an annual exposition, not donning white gloves to slip 1940s brochures into mylar sleeves. Also, as any of us who've been to the fairgrounds in this incidental heat can attest, a climate-controlled setting it ain't. I visited the library archives on Wednesday. The county fair collection fills some 200 white file boxes, and the staff isn't even through packing up and transporting all the ephemera. Katie Richardson, head of special collections, who sees the collection growing over time. It's one of our largest archival collections. It'll probably be our largest. The Rose Parade is probably our runner-up now. Richardson and archives coordinator Rob Strauss boxed items themselves and lugged them to Cal Poly, often in Strauss's minivan. All hail the minivan. The temporary labels on the boxes give a sense of the contents. Cattle Drive, 1996. Film reels, 1971 and 1972 negatives. Cookbooks. An archivist will be hired in February to begin making digital copies of film reels before they deteriorate, organizing the great mass of material and cataloging each item. I'm picturing a tag that reads, Representative Popsicle Stick, circa 1972. In general, expect a mix of the fascinating, the curious, and the mundane. When I saw a box labeled monorail, I asked Richardson to open it up. I knew the fair had a monorail around the grounds from the 1960s to the 1990s, and that the first official rider was Richard Nixon. The former Veep got sautéed in his aerial loop around the fairgrounds, by the way, because the monorail windows didn't open and nobody thought to install air conditioning. Sadly, the monorail box was full of dull reports about mechanical issues. I don't know what I was hoping for. Maybe a sweat-stained hanky with the initials RN. But unexpected finds are already turning up. A cardboard box has slender manila envelopes of large format photo negatives of various sites around California and the West. One is labeled Capistrano Beach, 1948. The photos have no evident tie to the LA County Fair, but that's where the box ended up, mysteriously. Richardson and Strauss had already pulled a few fun items for me to see. A scrapbook of photos from the 1948 fair, a 1947 planner from the fair's manager, a blue ribbon first prize for sheep from the 1927 fair, brochures for the fairs of 1940, 1953, 1963, and 1969 were side by side. Cheerful motto of the 1963 fair, the nation's most exciting and colorful exposition. The 1969's groovy cover, it's where it's happening. In 6 years, the fair went from exciting to mellow. A few items relate to the debut fair of 1922, including a publicity photo of the 6 founders standing in a field pointing. They were savvy businessmen, Richardson explained. They wanted to promote Pomona. Pasadena had the Tournament of Roses parade. San Bernardino had the Orange Show. Riverside had a fair. They were trying to think of what would set Pomona apart. Once they learned there was no Los Angeles County Fair, they went with that. They incorporated in April 1922, Richardson said, and put the fair on in October. They didn't even break ground until July. It was amazing how quickly they pulled it off. The collection has film reels from the 1960s and 70s fairs, contents currently unknown. I think those will be a hit. As research progresses, we might learn more about the origins of Thumper, the Porky Piglock mascot from 1948. How about all the musicians who've given concerts at the fair during the rock era? Few of those have been documented in a public way. For my benefit, Strauss held up a brochure for an unexpected 1952 fair performer, Liberace. Liberace in Pomona at the county fair. The mind boggles. Also, I hope they kept its candelabra away from the meeting. As the collection's catalog, Richardson sees opportunities for exhibits, lectures, web pages, oral histories from fair growers, and tie-ins with Cal Poly classes in business, agriculture, and culinary arts. She said students can recreate food items from fair cookbooks from decades past, like the prize-winning chocolate cake of Alberta Dunbar of San Diego, featured in a news clipping about her back-to-back victories in 1977 and 78. Richardson said of the collection, it's going to paint a picture of how the fair evolved. Meanwhile, the LA County Fair is due to return May 5th to 30th as the event shifts away from the boiling late summer to the gentler late spring. The fair, marking its 100th anniversary in 2022, may be part of history, but its evolution continues.
Another couple of boxes of records at Mar-a-Lago.
I'm sure his handling of those fair documents was perfect.
You are duly sworn in. Nice to meet you. Sit down.
And it's like you played 100 times. Like, you didn't do that, but I had a feeling you were doing it. Here we go again. I know this was my one hand. I would one of the rest of the heart.
Yes, I am.
Anyway, please meet you. Just do this.
Here I am getting my signature, super beyond excited.
And then you want to do what they don't want to
I ended up getting my signature. He was amazing, and I also bought the second book. If you are into local history as myself, I highly recommend you purchase these books. He even posed with me after. How amazing was that? Thank you, Mr. Allen.